Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm here with a video that has been very requested and it is something I get comments on all of the time. I don't avoid doing it, but I do just put off filming this video because you guys will know if you watch this channel that I am not a revision channel. This is not a revision channel, I'm not a study tuber as such, and if you have clicked on this video thinking that I am either very academic or gonna show you like intense study routines, then I am definitely not the channel for you. So I'm just gonna pre-warn you. If you are looking for content like that, I really recommend my friends Eve Bennett and Jade, Unjaded Jade, because they are very much into academia and their content is gonna help you more than this video will. So that is my little disclaimer at the beginning. However, today I'm here with a video that I have wanted to film, I just didn't really know where to start. I'm just going to talk about my revision and how that might be able to help you. I'm not going to focus it on GCSE or A-level specifically, I'm going to cover both just because I feel like if I generalise it, it just makes it a little bit easier for everybody rather than doing something specific, because then I'm targeting a very niche audience, especially with the subject that I study. So if you guys weren't aware, I'm in year 13, which in the UK, that is your last year of education. And I am studying 3 subjects: A-level photography, A-level media studies, and A-level English literature. So as you can see from that already, I am not the most academic person. It wasn't necessarily that I was bad at academic subjects, it's just that I much prefer the creative ones, and that is what I chose to study at A-level. So obviously my revision strategies and the things I need to do, the deadlines I need to meet, are very different to that of those studying science, maths, languages, things like that, because I take very coursework based subjects, which is why I don't really talk about revision a heck of a lot, because for me it's not revision I'm doing usually, it is coursework, because although they are A-levels, they are coursework heavy A-levels. And yeah, also I am not the best advocate for studying. So if you're watching me thinking, oh my god, I'm never going to be able to revise like her, I am not that person at all. Like, there are some people on YouTube, and it is people that focus purely on revision. I know that sometimes that can make you feel a little bit like taken aback, and I think that their content is usually, it's amazing and I wish I was dedicated like that. But if you're not quite like that, I think it can make you feel a little bit like you don't know whether to feel like you should be doing that much. I'm here to provide the opposite side to that. I am the person that does not revise as much as they should do, and I'm just going to openly say that because yeah, my priorities aren't always with studying, which is bad, and I very much want to get good grades in A-level. We have to be realistic here. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching aren't aiming for 3 A stars, so yeah, here's that. So I've mentioned that my subjects are coursework heavy, and I just wanted to show you guys a little example of like things that I've done in my coursework, just to maybe give you ideas if you're studying a similar subject to mine, or maybe just to get an insight into what it's like to study a creative course rather than a academic one. So if you haven't seen my weekly vlog, you will not know that I've actually been making a magazine for my media coursework. Now I've made a short vlog as well, it's not really a vlog, like a short travel film vlog thing. I probably will upload it to this channel, so let me know if that's something you'd like to see. But to run alongside that, I also put together a short magazine. So that is this here, and now this is meant to be a travel magazine, so I called it Escape, and everything in here is done myself. I have not had any help. I did ask you guys for some layout designs if any of you had ever made a magazine, and quite a lot of you got back to me, so that was really helpful. But this is the magazine, or is the magazine, and I'm pretty happy with it. The photo was taken actually by Eve Bennett, but it is of me, so this is me. This is the Empire State Building, and I focused on like travel documentaries for my coursework this year. I've written an essay about YouTube and vlogging culture and travel vlogging, and then to run alongside it, the creative part was this. So inside, when you open it up, it's got a contents page. I'm really not particularly happy with how this looks, but if we skip past the contents page, I really like the rest of the magazine. So I've written a double page spread here like this, again all just written and made up, like none of it's true, but really doesn't matter. And then I've integrated 3 pictures, and then I've got another double page spread here, and again all made up. I've just done it as if it was the first couple of pages of a travel magazine. I didn't finish it, it doesn't have to be finished, it just has to be an example of a print media. So this is a little insight into my media course. This is my A2 final piece alongside the film, alongside the essay. The 3 combined together then become my coursework, and that is 50%. So for those of you that were wanting a little bit more of a broader how I'm revising for subjects that need revision, this is how I have been revising for my English. Now I have bought myself one of these books which were from Muji. I get a lot of questions about these, I'll link them below. They come in a pack of 5 and they've all got different colours here, and basically I bought one for every single book that I study. So this is just 2 examples, but if you were wondering, I study Hard Times by Charles Dickens, Othello by Shakespeare, Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller, God, now this is testing my memory, poetry by John Keats, poetry by Tony Harrison, and The Kite Runner by, oh my god, what is his name, Khaled Hosseini. So yeah, they are the books that I'm studying, and I have one of these for each. And basically the way I'm doing it, the way I've been revising for English, this is very broad, but I have been reading every single act of the play and just making notes on every act. So like some of them are longer than others, and I've just created mind maps because I think it's mind maps that help me the most, because that way you can look back at them. Like I said, some are more in-depth than others. And when you read them back, you're then able to test yourself memory wise. I've also underlined key bit, and then to run alongside the mind maps I have also got these. Now these revision cards are from Wilko's, and these were £1, and I have just been noting down every single like key quote from whichever act. Like as I've been rereading it, I've been writing down all of the key quotes, and then I thought with them all in one place I can test myself and like memory work it. If you are studying a subject where you need to do a lot of memory work, I think it's really helpful to have it all written down. I personally don't find that doing that digitally is helpful. However, speaking of something that would help you digitally, I'm so excited to be able to share this with you. So basically, you might not have heard of a website called Study Rocket, but they actually got in touch with me about like collaborating on something revision based, and I thought, yeah, that's perfect with it being exam season and with you guys asking for how I revise and how I did revise and how I'm revising now and stuff. I thought I could integrate this really well. So I'm going to screen share it and put it on screen while I talk through it, just because it's a little bit easier to explain if you can see it. But essentially what this website is it's exam-based content that covers literally everything you need from A star to 9. It's very, very condensed, so it's not going around the houses at all. It's just literally the information you need to know. It's designed to stop procrastination, and it prompts breaks when you might need them. So instead of just keeping on working and working and working, it helps you know when to take time out. Also, I think a really nice aspect to it is that it allows you to compete with your friends. You'd be able to like not race each other, but you'd be able to see how far along you were with the content that you were studying, and it just helps you with the motivation side of it, because there's an incentive there to want to keep learning and like bettering yourself. You can build your own notes and you can track your own progress, and essentially there is revision on there for every single subject. So I'm going to leave this link below. I really recommend. I have had a look at the courses that they offer at the moment, and a lot of them are still in like demo, because this is very new software, but I think that it's going to be so helpful. I think especially if you are studying for your GCSEs. So I think you should definitely have a little look on there, check it out, because all of the content is on one place. It's all in one place for you to be able to look through. It's not like you have to keep flicking through a book to find it or seeing where you put that sheet of paper. Like they know the content for each specification, so I think it would be really helpful for some of you guys to have a look on here. As I've already mentioned, the link will be down below for this, but I think that it was things like this when I was in year 11 that really helped me out. Any form of online digital revision really helped with my memory, because I'm definitely a visual learner, so anything I can see and interact with, that was staying in my head a lot more. So if you think you're a visual learner as well, this could be so helpful for so many of you guys. If you do test it out, let me know what you think in the comments, and I would love to know how you're getting on with it. So yeah, that is definitely another way that I have been revising. For English, I think that any form of online revision is so helpful. Any video I can watch, any notes that I can read, because often you get so stuck in a rut with English. I think if you're studying it, you will know that it's so easy to just repeat the story, or like repeat what your teachers have told you. And if you can find other content, other ideas online, that is not stealing, that is using your initiative and like helping you come up with new ideas as well. So I think that is definitely how I go about English. A lot of you guys asked about organisation and motivation. I asked on Twitter for questions and they were quite similar. A lot of people were talking about how to stay motivated, how to stay organised, and I think the way I do both of those things is actually the same. I have this little planner here. This is from TK Maxx, and essentially what I do is I just make myself a to-do list. Now this is today's at the bottom, as you can see. It's not particularly done yet, but I always think if you can see it written down, there's more of an incentive to get it done, because if it stays in your head, it's not like it's just in your head, it's not out. So if it's out, you got to get it done. That's my way of thinking about it anyway. So I'd really recommend doing that, because then not only do you stay organized with knowing what you need to do, but you also stay motivated to make sure you get everything ticked off the list. Now, of course, this doesn't always work, and there are some times that you just want to chill and you don't care that you haven't got your work done, but I definitely think that this helps. Now, obviously, with 2 of my subjects being specifically creative based, I do think that the revision for those are slightly more difficult. In fact, my photography course I can't revise for at all, because it is all coursework. There is no exam in photography, which is why it's my favorite subject. However, with media, it's a slightly trickier one, and I'm just going to speak generally about it because I really don't think that many people study media studies. However, if you are considering it, I definitely would recommend it if you're interested in English or politics or media, of course, as well, like production of videos and things like that. But I definitely think you have to have an interest in English and politics as well, because it is all very current. It's all like the news and current affairs. I think if you're focused more on like video production, I think film studies would be more for you, which I would have taken if my school ran it. I think I would prefer to take film studies, but my school don't offer it, so I took media instead. So yeah, with media, again, I'm doing the same kind of thing. So I have myself one of these books. These have been my year 13 saviours, honestly, best £5 I've ever spent. And what I've done in here is I've basically just made so many notes from like all the lessons, like whenever my teacher is talking or whenever we have to like make any notes on anything, it's all in this one book. And I think at A-level it's so important that you keep your stuff together, because at GCSE you have these kind of books, like you'll have an exercise book probably, I don't know about everybody, but at my school we had exercise books. A-levels you do not have them, so I think it's very important that you like take it upon yourself to make sure your notes are all in one place. Another example of that is a folder, of course. Now I do have 3 of these, but transporting these to and from school is just so not ideal because it's so heavy and it's so bulky. So I like to keep my sheets in here, like if we ever get given any sheets, like that's what this is full of. But notes wise, I don't make my notes in a folder just because I don't like carrying them, and anything that makes my bag slightly lighter and easier to carry I am there for. So when I thought of an idea that could eliminate a folder from my life, I was straight on that. So now I'm just going to read a couple of questions off Twitter and ask them directly, because a lot of people ask them and they were quite the same, but if there are any different ones I'm just going to answer them now. So Zoe, which is at Zoe is Falling, has asked how I manage my different English revisions between novels and poems, and I think that is such a good question actually, because if you didn't know, the English course is basically broken up into 2 separate papers. So I'm doing tragedy and then social and political, so they're like miles apart, but for each one I have a novel, play and a poetry like selection, and that's the same on the other side. So it's 3 very different like things. It might look like they're just books, but they're actually really different. Studying a play is so different to studying a novel, and studying a novel is so different to studying poetry. Personally my favourite is poetry. I just think it's so much easier, which is probably a controversial opinion. Oh wait, I've just realised I actually have 2 novels, so social and political, but 2 plays for tragedy. Anyway, that's irrelevant. Poetry is my personal favourite and therefore the easiest to revise, because I think that as long as you know the poems, as long as you have a rough idea of context, which is so important for English Lit, I think that is definitely a focus point for my revision, is like the context. So the time it was written, why it was written, what the author or whatever was trying to achieve, like things like that, which is why I prefer poetry, I think, because I think I find it easier to study the context. Again, another good website for things like that is Quizlet. Now you guys will know Quizlet, I'm sure. If you don't, Google it. It was a saviour for my GCSEs and it's very helpful alongside Study Rocket for English literature. I think the 2 together are really, really good. Another main way I think with English, as I already mentioned, videos help me so much, and online there are so many different lectures and like talks on not all of the books I study, because some of them are quite like niche. So mainly it's like Othello and like Keats, because they're really well known, but there's really good videos on those on YouTube. So I think if you are studying anything that you really want to go over, or you think you would be helped from like listening and like visually seeing something, definitely just type it in on YouTube on the off chance. I know that if you're studying The Great Gatsby, which I actually studied last year, John Green has a lot of videos on YouTube that are super helpful on just going over like the basic plot and the basic themes, because sometimes I think that is where you need to start with the revision. Okay, and then last but not least, a lot of you guys have asked about time management. Now I'm going to be straight up honest and say that I probably don't do as much revision as I should do. I probably do 1 to 2 hours a day on a good day. Like, you have to remember that my subjects are coursework based, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but there is very limited amount of things that I can do, especially for photography. So if you take that out of the equation, I'm essentially doing 2 A-levels, and media studies is half coursework as well, so it's literally 1.5 that I have to study. So all of my time when I'm revising goes on English pretty much, with the exception of like a bit of media, but predominantly I studied like English. If I'm at home and I'm studying, it's going to be English, so I don't do as much as I could. However, I don't feel like I underdo it either. I think I've like got a good balance, because I have 4 hours of teacher taught time and then maybe like 4 hours of outside the classroom time, so 8 hours a week, which is not a lot, because you will watch these YouTubers that do 8 or 9 hours a day. I am not that person, because realistically it's just not logistical in the lifestyle that I lead. I am a very, very busy person, and A-levels at the moment are obviously one of my priorities, because they're so like current. They're gonna be like, I'm taking these exams in basically 2 months, so they're like the priority right now. However, I haven't fully like eliminated other things from my life. I still want to see my friends, I still want to upload to YouTube. I don't want to let any of that slide. The time management for me is all just about priority. If I know I have a deadline, if I know I'm a bit behind in one lesson, I will then prioritize that. But if I'm not behind, if I'm on top of my work, if I'm on top of my homework, if I've met my deadlines, I will then allow myself to go out to see my boyfriend, to see my friends. And I think if you watch my weekly vlogs, you might be able to see that I have a pretty much 50-50 work-life balance, because I would go insane if I didn't. I don't have the kind of motivation and the work ethic to do an entire day of work without doing something else. I wish that I did, because I would be probably a lot smarter and incredibly productive if I could do that, but I just can't, and I think that's fine. I think if you're watching this and you're going, yeah, literally same Molly, then that's okay. Like, not every single person has to want to get straight A stars. Like, I know in myself that I'm happy with like A's and B's, and that is what I'm aiming for. I'm not aiming for A stars. Always aim high, like definitely aim high. Don't just like, oh, I'm happy to pass. Like, aim high. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm just saying don't let it interrupt your real life. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Have a contradiction myself. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. Maybe you're sat there thinking you're not a good role model, but I just think it's really important to get the balance right, and I feel like I do achieve that. So if you have enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Please go and check out Study Rocket, because if you're studying GCSEs or A-levels, check it out, see if they have your courses on there, because I kid you not, their content is so in-depth, it's so thorough, and the whole website design is something that I am so in love with. Like, I can get behind it. It's so interactive and cool. So as I've already mentioned, the link to that is down below. I will see you all on Thursday with a drive with me. I have a special guest joining me in my drive with me this week, so be sure to check that out when it goes live on Thursday. Subscribe if you're new around here, give this a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and be sure to let me know your opinions on anything I've just discussed in the comments. Of course, I'm open to suggestions, I'm open to other people's opinions, so let me know yours in the comments below, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye!